Hello, and welcome to the third episode of The Silent Pandemic. I am your host, Vaishnavi Yadav, and today we are joined by an exceptional guest, Nandita Jaiswal, the founder of FinPath. With over 18 years of experience in financial planning, wealth advisory, and equity research, Nandita has built a reputation for helping individuals and families make confident and informed financial decisions. Through FinPark, she has been empowering clients to achieve financial independence by combining technical expertise with deep empathy, an approach that makes finance not just about numbers, but about life goals and security. A CFA and a passionate mentor, Nandita has been guiding many towards financial literacy and resilience, qualities that are especially vital in the uncertain times we live in. In today's episode, we will explore how financial well being is often the silent pillar of emotional and social well being, and how understanding money, risk, and responsibility can transform not just our finances but our lives. Nandita, we are so delighted to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us on the Silent Pandemic.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi, for that wonderful introduction. Pleasure is all mine to be here and looking forward, to learn more as we talk along. And I'm hoping once this podcast is out, people not only just read through it, but yes, start applying the same. And both of us are, anyways, available to revert to them and to help them out on their financial journey in whatever way possible.
So, let's begin by hearing a little about your journey and what inspired you to start FinPath and step into the space of financial coaching.
Okay, so as you mentioned, Vaishnavi, after working into this finance space and almost all areas of personal finance, which includes research, investment planning, financial planning, insurance, right, even training internally and all, tax filing, in all, not only me, but I see that there are a lot of experts already there in the industry for taking care of it. But there is a huge gap when it comes to mentoring and coaching people, okay, in a genuine way. We all know that most of the mis-selling happens in the insurance space, followed by various other financial products. There are loads of products available in the industry, but people don't understand, or the investor doesn't understand where and how to invest. Basically, the suitability of the product. There's nobody to guide them or teach them what is good for them in terms of their financial journey. Okay, the social media is flooded with information, but there has to be someone who can guide them to make the right choice that is suitable for them. So I realized that there was a big gap in terms of the investments that families made and the purpose and suitability of that product. And this was largely led by lack of financial awareness. Okay, and that's what led me to move out of a corporate job and focus primarily on educating individual professionals, investors, families, and my favorite women, right, and kids as well, right, who are the futures of this nation, who are the future of this nation. So we have almost 1.78 lakh mutual fund distributors, Vaishnavi, okay, who sell mutual fund products. 963 SEBI registered investment advisors are there. Even bank mitrans who help, in bank services and all, that number is almost 1.35 million, 13.5 lakhs. Okay, banking space is where that leads, but we really don't have any concrete data when it comes to financial educators in terms of personal finance awareness. The space has started to explore. We do see that there are a few changes, which has started to happen in this space in terms of coaching, but which one to choose for, right? Even SEBI has started this smart program to educate investors on their financial journey, but things have started working on this space, still a long way to go.
So true. Knowledge is definitely power, but correct knowledge is what it takes you to the grave.
Exactly.
So, financial planning is often misunderstood as something meant only for the wealthy.
Yes.
Nandita, how would you redefine it for the common individual or young professionals?
So, well, Vaishnavi, there is another aspect to this, you know. There's definitely a myth that it's only for the wealthy and the rich people. The other misconception that is largely prevalent in the industry is that financial planning is same as investment planning, right? People treat financial planning as an investments. They expect that, right? First, let me tell you that financial planning should be the starting point for anyone's financial journey, whether it be a beginner or it be a seasoned investor. Everyone needs it, okay? And going back to the human psychology, right? We start feeling uneasy about things when we start losing control over it, when things start slipping out of our and whether it's money, it's relationship, or it's time. Similarly, we start thinking of, planning for our finances only when we witness a difficult financial situation, such as, our kids growing up, they are in their, high grades, and now we start thinking about, okay, which college should I send him? What will be the fee? This is a very common thing which clients come up with, right? And also retirement. Okay, I'm going to retire in the next 5 years. Where is the money? So these are a few common ones when people start thinking about financial planning, wherein this should be the starting point, as I mentioned. Okay, so this is a big gap which we see, and also, financial planning is a reckoner. It's like a ready reckoner that can help one understand to where one stands today and the journey over the next multiple decades. So financial planning has nothing to do with products. What it has to do, it has to guide you in your financial journey to where you are, to where you can be in the next 10, 20, at retirement, up to your life expectancy. So that is the vision that planning helps you to understand. Okay. And it also helps you to understand your financial pain points. Right? Am I too high on liabilities? Am I saving enough? What if I'm not there tomorrow? Okay, what will happen to my financial dependents, right? Are my loved ones taken care of? So all these aspects are taken care through financial planning. It lends clarity and defines the path towards your financial freedom. Okay, and it also helps you to achieve your goals, manage your risk, and pass on the vibrant legacy for the loved ones. Okay, it is one of the best ways or the first step towards creating a will or a trust. And I'm sure you too, being a part of the estate planning industry, will agree that services such as financial planning and coaching, estate planning, term and health insurance have gained lot more prominence during the COVID phase, during and after the COVID phase, rather, I would put it like that. Okay, so yeah, it should be a mandatory checklist for any individual, including a young professional or a seasoned investor.
So true. And this need for wills and estate planning it has seen a tremendous growth after COVID, because a lot of people faced problem while their loved ones passed away in order to claim the assets that they already have, but claiming was missing. So yes, wills have been a game changer in such situations.
Right. So the other aspect, Vaishnavi, as you say this, is also because people are not aware, especially spouses, the female member, right? I have seen situations where the earning member passes away and the wife is completely unaware what is where. The sad part. So if
Correct.
people doesn't know, how are they going to claim it? And if you have a financial plan in place, it's created at a family level, including both the spouses. So that ways it takes care of your loved ones, not only in your presence, but also after you.
So true. And now that you have been a professional for 18 years, what are the most common money mistakes you have seen people make, especially early in their financial journey?
See, the most common ones is indiscipline, right? People are earning decently. See, whatever you earn, doesn't matter what your earning is, always, reciprocation of your hard work is what I believe. And whatever you are earning, you should manage that well first. Even if you are earning, a lakh per month or even 50,000 rupees per month, if you manage that money well, if you align it well, you will not come across a situation where you really have to hassle with your goals or for your financial security, right? having the right kind of insurance policies. When I say insurance policy, what I mean is pure term life cover and a health cover, which leads, to erosion of your wealth at the end of the day. People even enter into debt trap. They borrow money at high cost. Okay. So all this is because of the indiscipline. Next is people start very late. They think that once I will earn some money, once I will, as you mentioned, right? Wealthy are the ones who look for financial planning. It's not like that, right? So in with that myth, people start late. I have a long, number of years to work. I'll start once I have a decent amount of money. Then I will go and create a portfolio with an advisor. So starting late is the biggest drawback, right? Or what I would say, it's like a termite, right? Which is eating away your money every day. You're spending it. If you're not saving it, you're spending it in 99% of the cases. The third one, which I have seen, Vaishnavi, is people get very impatient also. There are a few investors also, who even if they start and if they see the slightest of corrections in the market, just go ahead and sell that off because they don't have that patience to hold on to that investment. So the long-term vision, and that comes in through proper education and coaching. What should be my timeline to hold this portfolio? Somebody who can guide them. Okay. And one more I would want to mention here is the joy of borrowed living. Okay. That is most prevalent in the beginners, I would say, where uh, they are into a large amount of debts, paying EMIs for their luxurious phone, are all depreciating assets. Okay, so it's because of the peer pressure, you call it, right? Or you call it just because they have started earning and they have a credit card. That's another thing. See, credit card, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a very good product, but one should know the pros and cons of it before using that, right? So that these are the 4 5 things, which is indiscipline, starting late, impatience, joy of borrowed living, falling into the debt trap, right? And all of it comes under indiscipline only, to summarize. Okay. And these are the most common errors or mistakes which I have come across with my set of clients or investors, you can say that.
So we can say that financial literacy is truly a life skill. What are the foundational steps to becoming financial literate according to you?
I believe that financial education is as important as regular education that a child gets at school. It's that important. It should be a mandatory subject, is what I believe. Okay. And is an integral life skill which each one of us should imbibe, right? We started talking about these things very late, but what about our kids? At least they can start early, and that can start at school, at home, both. Some schools have started including it in their curriculum, doing workshop for kids. A lot of schools are doing it now, right, at their own level. Even Olympiad have started financial literacy pieces. There are a lot of things happening around now, okay, on educating kids on finance, because you must have seen how what is the value of money for kids today. So it's a very important thing which everyone should have, and in my view there are a few core concepts for financial well-being, right? To starting simple is to start budgeting. Okay. So when I say budgeting, simply put up, income minus expenses should be my savings. I mean, traditional age old thing is whatever I earn, I spend first, and then whatever is left, I save. First of all, you should change that equation from income minus expenses is equals to savings to income minus savings is equals to expenses. So you should save first and then spend. That will bring a drastic change. Okay. The next question, I'm sure you will ask me, but how much should I save? Right? Okay, I have earned. You told me, Nandita, income minus savings is equals to expenses, but I have to eat. I have to go out. I have to send my child to school. So, how do I define that number? How much to save? So, the simple thumb rule there to start off with, this is for beginners, I'm saying, but gradually this percentage should increase. So, there's a 50 30 20 rule where 50% of your overall income must get deployed towards your needs, right? The non discretionary expense. 30% may go towards your EMIs and other bonds. So, overall, in this 80% of your overall income, you spend it towards your expenses, discretionary, non discretionary, plus EMIs, all EMIs. Okay. And at least 20% of the income should automatically go towards savings, and this should scale up over time, right? So this 20% may go up to 30 to 35%. Okay, as you start earning more and your income bracket increases. So this is a very basic thumb rule to start off with, but then grow over it. Okay. The third one is maintain an emergency fund. As I mentioned in the previous question, health insurance and term life, especially health insurance, okay, or any kind of a sudden situation which comes up. If you have an emergency fund, you really don't end up falling into the debt trap and paying higher EMIs out there, high cost. Okay, and it helps you sail through a difficult time. Okay, have adequate amount of term insurance and health insurance, not only for self but also for dependents or financial dependents. Okay, set your goals and start early. So starting early is again the key to building more wealth in a lesser time frame, and this will come in through discipline, right? So there are a few more, like you should manage your debts wisely, as I spoke about. So debt is not always bad, Vaishnavi. There are different kinds of loans. We can segregate the two between good debts and bad debts. So good debts are something which wherein you take a loan for an appreciating asset which helps you build something at the end of the tenure. For example, a home loan on your principal residence or an education loan, right? At the end of the thing, you have a house which will be appreciating, plus it is for your personal consumption, right? And also it has tax benefits. Both these loans, education loan as well as a house loan. Bad loans for depreciating assets, gadgets, mobile phones, personal loan, high cost for vacations. People take for any purpose and every purpose a personal loan these days, right? Which are typically highly cost, right? But if you plan ahead for those goals also, I'm not saying that you should not buy a luxurious phone or you should not buy a luxurious car. The point here is you should manage your budgeting first. Are you saving that 20-30% of your income first and then going ahead and paying the EMIs, or you are into a cash crunch? That should not be the situation. Or you should not take another loan to pay the previous loan also. Okay, that is very common in the early people who start just earning. So for them, planning is very, very important. This financial information is very important, right? So there are a few core tips which may help one to make informed decisions and build a stable financial future.
So true. You have beautifully put that when your income increases, increase your savings and not your expenses. Now let's talk about legacy and estate planning. Why do you think so many people delay or avoid it altogether?
Okay, so this is an interesting one. And there are a lot of myths, Vaishnavi, around legacy and estate planning. Okay, one most common is only wealthy needs it. Only wealthy needs to write a will. Or people also think that when I'll grow old, then I'll write a will. This is not the right time. Okay. Some people also feel that I have a nominee, right? I have nominations, and nomination are substitute for a will, which is not the right thing. I hope you'll agree to that, right? So a nominee is just a custodian of your assets, which needs to be aligned as per the will. A will overrules a nominee, which many of us, many of the people aren't aware of today, just because of the lack of awareness. Okay, many also believe, as I said, right, I'll do it after my retirement. Okay, once I retire. And for some people there is no retirement also till they fall on the bed. Okay, so the right answer for me, to do such things is now. Once you have started earning and you have a financial dependent, you have a spouse, you have kids, you should write a will, right? And so all these myths, if you see, are the major causes which leads one to procrastinate when it comes to legacy and estate planning. Okay, it affects one's financial, mental, and emotional well-being, right? So let's all stop procrastinating on this and start acting. We've all witnessed the result of it, right? During the COVID and otherwise as well. You are a lawyer and you must have surely come across, a lot of heart-rending cases during and post COVID where the will is not in place. Forget will, I've even seen clients struggle for basic information such as bank account details, laptop, login. In a nutshell, with families, the spouses are unaware about the overall holdings of the financial assets, right? So this is how it is. And as I said, I think you are insured, FinPath, and there are a lot of other companies also who have started acting and, creating more awareness so that people start acting and take care. So this has nothing to do with investments. All it has to do is take care of your financial loved ones to give them a secured financial future.
So true. So it is not about uh, multiplying your assets, but whatever assets you have, it's just protection of those assets.
Exactly.
And from your experience, how can financial planning and estate planning complement each other in helping families build long term security?
Glad you asked this question, Rashnavi, right? Because I have experienced that many of us get onto the investment journey, just jump onto the investment journey without planning enough, right, for a seamless transfer to the loved ones, right? I'm sure you'll agree to this. And we all start thinking about it only, in situations, only in hard financial situations, health situations, or things starts moving out of control. I also mentioned in my previous question that financial planning should be the starting point for anyone's financial journey. I mean, it gives you a comprehensive and detailed outlook of your overall financial wealth at family level, not at individual level. Okay. And planning for your loved ones, their financial security is a vital aspect of the process of this overall journey. Okay. Planning for family goals such as kids' higher education, retirement are the most common ones, right? So, followed by risk management for situations such as, if I'm not there tomorrow, I'm the only earning member of my family. My family doesn't even know what is where. Okay. So, these are the things, if one starts, asking themselves, I think financial planning and estate planning, both of it will start moving hand in hand together. Okay. So this vanguards towards, term life insurance, financial locker, estate planning. These are the things which has nothing to do with investments. All it has to do is security, financial security to protect your dependents, your kids, your spouse, your parents, elderly parents, right? And it's a very crucial aspect. That is what you are working for, right? You are building wealth for whom? Of course, for self, but also for your loved ones. And this is the what I would say the art part of finance. This is not, the science and the technical part. This is typically covers the emotional aspect of planning and is equally or even rather, I would say, more important than investments and other aspects. I mean, it gives an investor or it gives an individual a peaceful sleep, which an investment may or may not give. But if he knows that if something happens to me, my family is well taken care of, my spouse really doesn't have to struggle, my kids will have the same standard of living in my presence and in my absence as well, right? So these two things, I would say financial planning and estate planning goes hand in hand, and estate planning is a very, very integral part of financial planning.
Very beautifully put. I would say that these two are two sides of the same coin. They go hand in hand with each other. Now, I will talk about something which is very close to your heart, and that is women's financial empowerment. What are some unique challenges women face in financial decision making, and how can they overcome them?
Okay, you have asked something which is very, very, close to my heart and very dear to me, and women and finance, right? So this is something which we keep talking about, but what are we doing really? So that was a very crucial aspect for me also when I started FinPath, right? The idea was to educate people and especially women and kids. As I mentioned, the future of the nation is what they are. If the women are educated, they are the ones to educate the kids because they are the ones to spend the maximum time with the kids at home. Okay. And as I said, it is very, this woman in finance piece is very dear to me. And I envision to reduce or rather eliminate the gap between the two. Okay. If we look at the latest data, as per the NCFE, which is National Center for Financial Education, the overall financial literacy rate in our country is 27% compared to a global average of 42%. Okay. And coming down to women in India, it's even lower at just 24%. And in the millennials, it's even lower at 19%, 18, 19%. So we can see that there is a huge, huge work that needs to be done in this space. Okay. And I wish to be a contributor towards this in whatever way possible. Okay. Main issue are the challenges, coming to the challenges that you mentioned, Vaishnavi. So I think the main issue is the mindset, right, with us. We have all, seen, we have all grown up seeing that only the male member takes care of the finances. Okay. Women's participation in financial decisions has always been limited. It is starting to change now. But as I say, the past or it has started to shift, but still it is just 24%. That's because women have started earning, they have started contributing to the household income, but when it comes to managing their own financial well-being, the number there is not good to look at. Okay. As I said, uh, as simple as depositing a check in a bank, we are dependent on a brother, on a father, on our spouse, or some other male member. We will send somebody, but we would not want to go to the bank and, you know, do that. That's because, as I said, the mindset. That's all it has to do. That the male members have always been taking care of all the financial related decisions, actions, everything. Okay. And I think the best and simple way to start at ground level for we women is to know and aware ourselves just by knowing what is where. Okay. Just by knowing what is where should be the starting point. And also, many people feel that there's a skill set issue with the women. They cannot take care. I just don't agree with that a percent also. Because we are seeing women leading positions in every space now, right? So if they can be such great achievers, then managing for their own, financial well-being is not at all a skill set issue. All said, but as I said towards the beginning of this, Vaishnavi, the change has started to happen. Government is coming up with so many women-related schemes, empowering women, women loans, for their ventures and all. Okay, even a lot of financial awareness programs have started to happen. So I'm hoping this 24% should, keep increasing year on year, and in the next decade we surpass the global percentage. That's the vision, and yes, I'll try and encourage more people to spread the words. Of course, again, I'll reiterate one thing. Let's all start with knowing what is where. That is the biggest hurdle.
So, to all the women listening to this, all I want to say is that you have built your business empires, you have raised and nurtured your family.
Yes.
Now it's time to take charge of your finances and protect your wealth.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Vaishnavi. Very rightly you have put that up.
Nandita, over the years, you must have worked with thousands of clients. Could you please share an inspiring story or transformation journey that you have witnessed throughout your coaching journey?
See, there have been many cases, Vaishnavi, but I remember one of it, which actually, uh, made me feel that I'm paid back very well. The work for the work that I'm doing. So there was one of my client, young couple with kids, both of them working, uh, earning well with dependents. Okay, and this was they started with me even before COVID. Old clients, and in the first meeting when I had with them for financial planning, all the questions were being asked as well as answered by the husband. The spouse was there, so I always insisted both the spouses to be present for the financial discussion. I always insisted. Okay, and most of them worked out. Even if she doesn't ask, that's okay, but I want her to be there. So in the first planning review when we did, as I said, the husband was very active, asking questions, taking actions. Okay, we'll do this, and he was very actively doing it. Then came the COVID. During the COVID, uh, the wife's father and her brother. Unfortunately, both of them passed away, and the brother had a family. Okay. So after that, when we did the review after the COVID, in 2021, so we do a review of the financial planning piece. It's a once in a year or once in 3 years, depending on change in financial situation. And this time, I was being approached by the wife and not by the husband for a review. This was the change, and She was ready with her list of questions. How to access this data, Nandita? How to reach out to this data? What if my husband is traveling? How do I? So she made sure that she knew everything, not only about her investments, but what is where, how to have access to that. The husband was quiet and all the questions were asked. And then finally she told me, I'm asking you all this because this is what I have gone through and I am like not at peace since then. Okay, I don't want that. She also came up with a well piece, Vaishnavi, let me tell you. So they have kids. So they wanted to create a guardian for them through a will. Okay, so that was something which I really, felt very, very bad to hear what had happened to her family. That was heartrending for me. But when I see that she becoming so actively being engaged, and not only that, but encouraging her sister-in-law also to participate, okay, in her own way, was very, very overwhelming for me. And I think we all should not wait for such situations to happen. We should start acting now. So this was one of the cases, Vaishnavi. There were many more where the husbands passed away. Assets are spread across borders. If you don't have the right person who can help you get the transfer of assets, and also in the absence of a will, things become really, really ugly and challenging. Okay. So I think there are many more, but I remember specifically this one because though thankfully nothing happened to her and her family, but she has just witnessed it around and she started acting. So I think we have all witnessed it. So let's all start acting.
Truly, if we know something, sharing is all that we have to do to empower others as well.
Exactly.
Now that we are in digital age, everything is online or getting online, transferring online. How do you see the role of technology shaping the future of financial and estate planning, especially with respect to India?
Hmm. Okay. See, there is a perception that technology can do all the job, right? So the point here we all have to understand is technology is there to help you. It is not there to do your job or to take away your job. Humans have created technology. Technology hasn't created humans. It's all human brains who have done that, right? So I believe we should have the right balance of technology and human involvement. And when we are dealing with things like financial planning and will and estate planning, human touch is a must, right? I believe technology cannot replace it, but technology can definitely help us save a lot of time and spending the same time talking to customers and have that empathy with the customer and have that personal touch, because personal finance is very, very personal and we should all understand that technology is there to help us out. And also one very important thing when we're talking about personal finance is data security. Okay, we should all be very, very cautious on that piece. What kind of technology we are using? What is the security aspect which is going to take care of the data part, which is very important not only for us, but for all our customers, for each one of us.
So true. And to all the listeners who are listening to this wonderful podcast, I would say that if you are doing something online, make sure the company complies with all the digital laws that are there, the DPDP Act, and all other things are taken care of. And then only you go ahead with them. Do not just click, I agree, I agree, I agree, without reading the terms and conditions.
True, very true.
Yeah. Now, if you had to give three key financial habits everyone should cultivate, what would they be, Nandita?
Okay, so I'll bring back the same points, Vaishnavi, here, what we have discussed in the previous question, right? So I think taking the first step is the most difficult one, right? Once you take the first step, the next step becomes easier. The following steps is even easier. Okay. So just take that first step. And you can start with three simple rules. The first simple rule, as I mentioned, was the 50-30-20 rule. Okay. And the budgeting rule, which is income minus savings should be your expenses and not income minus expenses should be your savings. Okay. And the third one, which is most important, is to have an emergency fund, right? You asked me top three, but I'll give you two more. The next one is uh, insurance. Please insure yourself and your loved ones with a term life cover and a health insurance. That's very, very important because these are the things which will lead to wealth erosion, your hard earned money, which you have built up for your goals.
Definitely. And finally, what one message you would like to leave our listeners with who are thinking about taking control of their financial and legacy journey?
Just one message, Vaishnavi, a short and a simple one. Start now, even if it's imperfect. Okay. Stop procrastinating and start acting for a better financial future, not only for self, but for your loved ones. Thank you.
Wow. So the transformation starts now.
Yes.
What an insightful and thought provoking conversation this has been, Nandita. A huge thank you to you for joining us today and sharing your wisdom, experience, and compassion. Through FinPath, Nandita continues to remind us that financial planning is not just about wealth, but it is about well being, independence, and confidence in life's uncertain moments. In a world where financial stress often remains unspoken, her message of awareness, discipline, and empowerment truly resonates. It reminds us that taking small, consistent steps towards financial clarity can truly transform not only our future, but also our peace of mind today. In today's episode, inspired you? Don't forget to share it with someone who could benefit from understanding the power of financial resilience. And of course, stay tuned for our next episode of The Silent Pandemic, where we will continue exploring the quiet struggles that shape our modern lives and the solutions that can help us rise above them. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye and take care.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandita.